Okay, like Lon said, I'm Jamie, and today I've been asked to demonstrate what they call a squirrel cooker. So we'll pass. I made one, I don't know, 6 months ago or so, and I was driving down here and they kept pestering me about what I was going to make, and I was like, I have no idea. And I was like, well, this is about the extent of my skill set, but it's two of the main skills that we should begin to learn as blacksmiths. So I'll pass that around. I'm sure. How many people here have ever made one?
That's the first one I've seen.
Okay. So today we're going to start out with just some 3/8 square rod. That's what I had laying around. I think that's what I made that one out of. And it's just we'll start out with just a long, about a 2.5 inch long, kind of a flat square taper. Then you'll split it to make your tines. And then on the piece that goes in the ground, you just make you however long of a taper so you can get it to stab into the ground. So 2 different kinds of tapers. And then on the end of the squirrel cooker on the back side, you can put a hook on there like that one. You can do, your imagination can go in any direction you might want it to go. Is this on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I don't have you in the PA system. I can put you in the PA system.
No. So we'll go ahead and start with that. And it doesn't really require a lot of tools to do it either. So you just need to be able to hammer out your steel, and you just need to be able to split your steel. You can do it with a slitting chisel. You can do it with you can probably do it over a hot cut. You could do it with bandsaw or a die grinder, angle grinder. Yep. Lots of different ways to achieve whatever it is that you're looking for. And Pete, go ahead.
While that's heating up, we need to fill our demo calendar here. So if anybody's interested in doing a demo, let me know, please. We're wanting to do more of the Abana stuff, but Jim is really having difficulty with his scheduling, so we got slots to fill.
Yeah, I'll do one.
Yeah,
now.
that's true. Get a critter taken off that
I'm more used to using a gas forge because that's what I have at my house. So I'll have to pay more attention to the not burning the material. I don't have that problem at my house. I can go inside and get something to drink if I want. Yeah. Yeah.
I call mine the Bronco Ink thing.
And
Forget it. Set it. Yeah.
you can make these in any size that you want, length or whatever. So if you want it setting up, 30 inches, you could adjust your material to, or if you want it to extend further over and be further away from the fire, you can make them. So like these will end up being a little bit longer. I think I started with 18 inches of material for each one of those there. And so it's all, left up to your interpretation. But to do the long square taper, I use the flat side of the die. It's like making a regular taper, but you'd want to keep your 2 sides in plane, and then the other 2 you want them to taper down. And I've never demonstrated it before, so please correct me if I say something wrong.
Not so far. You said something wrong. Don't worry, Tabitha.
You said yes.
Safety first. And I assume a good blacksmith could probably make 3 of these in an hour, and then you sell them for $40 a piece or something, $50, I don't know. I've never sold a single thing, so I don't know. I know, it's... It feels pretty open.
Dial down on it.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, well, we tell him how much it's $7 to get out.
That costs you 4 tickets.
Well, we'll see if we can make this work. All right, so we'll start out by making our taper,
So I'm getting that old champion going.
and I'll do go back and do it 180 degrees, and then I'll check up my sides a little bit. Then I'll get another little bite, and I'll work it back, and then I'll check up the sides. And now the end's going to kind of curve out on you. It's going to kind of pooch out on you, kind of like a screwdriver or whatever, but that's okay because they're going to end up being split and turned into tines. Yeah, I'll start with the fork. Then this other piece, I better go ahead and stick it in there because it's taking a minute to get hot. We'll go ahead and get that in there as well. And then we'll just do a regular taper on that so we can stab it into the ground. Come on up here, buddy. And for your square taper, you want it about 2, maybe 2.5 inches. So when you split it, you got room to pull them apart and then arch them around so you can make your fork tines. I don't know if you wanted to get fancy with it and use larger material, you could make it into, you could put 3 tines on it like a fork, like a eating fork, I don't know. We're starting to get there. We'll do one more heat, draw that down just a little bit more, and then we'll be ready to split that end. And with the tines, when the tines are concerned, we'll go ahead and start working on our other taper here. Where the tines are concerned, you can leave your tines in a square orientation, or you can clean them up, make them into a round orientation. Or if you're really fancy, that's just the end so we can stab it into the ground there. And you can make this as short or as long as you want, depending on how hard the ground is that you're trying to go into. I assume, which we all know what they say about that, but I assume longer would probably be better. I don't know. On that tapered end. All right, so this is what we got here so far. Just a kind of a long, flattish, square-looking taper. We'll heat it up, and then we'll start splitting it from about here on down, because we got roughly 2 1/4 inches there, and then we'll go from there and continue on. I'll make this here a little bit longer. When I do the just a standard taper, I want to keep the point in the middle of the material. I'll rotate it 90 degrees every time, just to kind of keep everything centered. And now that we've got us a basic, you can round it. You can take the corners off. You can round it up, but I don't. I guess I will. Why not? We'll knock some of the corners off here just to make it look a little better, I guess. And you can do that at a lower heat profile, you know, because it's probably still 500 degrees, but then, you know, cool it off, turn it around, you can do whatever. We'll put our loop or our catch system on this end here, so we'll cool it off, turn it around. Nah, it's fine. Yeah. All right. And you can use kind of any kind of cutting system you like. But the point of it is when you start, you want to be as center as possible, because once you start getting these tines pulled out, if you're off on one side, a different size tine will become obvious, which is what we're going to end up having on this one. This is misshapen tine here. That's what I've heard. All right. All right, so we're gonna have one that's a little bit bigger than the other, but that's okay. We'll finish up the tines, and then we'll go back to making our little catch system on the back of that, so I don't end up burning something. Now when you get them split, you can pull them apart, you can put them in a vise, and when they're hot, you can hot rasp them. If it gets down to a dull heat, you can file them. If you want to turn them round. If you don't want to turn them around, you want to leave them square, you know, what they call it, a rag. You know, when you slit something, there'll be a little bit of a rag or a rough section that remains, you know, kind of like slot punching. And so you can cool it off, and you can put it on a belt sander, or however you want to go about cleaning it up to make it look the way that you want it to look. Bob, you got any recommendations? No? Buy it from China?
say I had no idea what this was until I looked it up. Mom told me what you were doing.
Yeah. Go ahead. Do we have a
Yep. Well, then I told my kids, and then my kids got all interested in like, what's squirrel trick?
Do we have a piece of metal to a cutting plate, or do you want me to use the?
Yeah, we got something.
You want me to use the cutting table on the anvil? Okay. All right, we'll get it split here. Yeah, this is going to look bad, man. I'm sorry. Well, I got kind of cattywampus on my cut there. All right, so this is where we're at so far. We got that split. You can definitely tell it's cattywampus on one side, but
Yeah, we're all little cattywampus.
yeah. Well, this is how we've made it so far. You see that one side's a little skinny on the butt end, but it'll still work. There's enough material there to make it work. So it just means the tine on the left side is either going to be longer, and then you can file it down to match the other side. There like that. That's it. Every time we get in the fire, we get better. Learn something every time, don't we?
Blacksmiths don't make mistakes, just design changes.
There you go. I like it. Long heat on that one there. I thought I had a puller, but it's all right. All right. All right, we are pretty much split. We'll start kind of getting these apart. So that we can then we'll put her in the vise. We'll heat it up, put it in the vise, bend it over, clean it up a little bit. Then we'll shape our fork. I guess that's a real similar technique to making like the ram's head style ornamental end, or so I've yet to make one of them, but yeah, it's right. All right, so we'll get this guy opened up. Clean all that mess off of there with a file.
Palmer say?
While we wait, we hydrate. I think that's starting to make it across the entire country. All right, so we can take this, we can start taking our time and shaping it in the shape that we want here. You can take them square, and then octagon and round if that's the direction you want to go with it. They say uniformity is the key. I'll get the other side. Front side of our fire pot has went out. On the front side, yeah. We got just the it's on high. Yeah.
I've had 3 surgeries on this shoulder and it still hurts.
Where'd you get?
So I don't do a whole lot of shoulder.
Yeah.
I've got some. So it's, yeah, I'm also a drummer. So I get that. Drummer, you know, it's the same sort of deal. But you got that flick of the wrist right at the end, and it makes a difference. If you build up that momentum, it's very similar to what you do by way back here.
It's all about the speed of the game. You watched Gary Hopkins' video on Get Control? Joe told me to watch it. I did. I was like,
There's so many of those I need to watch, but
No, I'm just, might have been just a hair close.
Just making sure, Doug. Want you to be happy. Just tore up one fireplace, so we can break another.
I know. Alright, so. Right. So, like I said,
About that wide of these. Well, what you can do is, once you split them,
you just bend one.
it bends one almost 180 degrees back. Okay. And then just work the one that's sticking out straight, and it's a swap done, bend it back, bend the other one forward. That's smart. Because you're going, yeah, you're going both into the one bend. Yeah, you're going to. Make sure it's hot. Make sure it's good hot.
Rocking way hot now, yeah.
Oh yeah, there we go. Now you may have.
I'll lose my tines here.
Get it pressed first.
All right, so I'm just, because I forgot to bring my fuller, I'm just trying to get this opened up here.
Would you normally put that in a vise sticking up and use a fuller in the middle?
You can,
Okay.
yep, or you could use a Hardy fuller, but from where that slit mark was here, from the slit and chisel, I'm just trying to clean that up a little bit so it's not such a stress point. And then I'll bend the tines around the horn there. We'll get to that here in just a second.
They're really putting stress on that.
Right. Squirrel has all the stress. And what do we want on the end of this end? Do we want to put anything on this end, Lon?
That's your call.
It don't matter to me. How are we doing on time? Since we had the, I just want everybody to.
It's 10:30.
I just want everybody to be able to play.
Yeah, I mean, it's only 10:30 and we got a small crowd.
All right.
Work mostly.
All right. So we'll take our tines and just kind of bend them uniformly around the horn of the anvil here. And then just kind of even them up, shape them up, tapping them kind of however you.
I don't know what the width is on that. Did anybody bring a squirrel?
I should have.
I forgot. I got a picnic gun. Plenty of trees around here. You gonna get in trouble out there, see all the way up here. I think you work for a rabbit too. Oh yeah. My dog would be eating it in a heartbeat.
All right. So even though it's not the best, we kind of have, and we could probably drive this tine down a little bit and make it a little cleaner. And we may have to do a little bit of file work there on the edge there because I got my tines off centered when I did my taper, but it will stab and cook a hot dog or a marshmallow or a squirrel. So all in all, not terrible. So what I'll do, almost got hot. I'll heat up about right here and then I'll throw it in the vise and twist it real quick. I almost touched it. I felt that heat. Weird guy. What a weird guy. What you need?
Oh, that pot right there, yeah.
What?
Now I did learn that when I got back to the house to check my and they would eventually work their way in and cause a problem. Step back out of the way.
All right, we can put us a little twist on there. We'll just do like a one full rotation. And we'll go clockwise, I guess, here. Well, there's a half, and there's a one. Twist there. And you can come up the whole length and do your reverse twist and all of that. Make it as nice as you'd like for it to be. So then we have that there.
That's pretty nice. Great.
And I mean, you could always put it with your twist to straighten them out. You can put them on the diagonal, and that'll straighten your twist if you don't have a wooden mallet or something like that. And that way the jaws won't damage your material here, and then it'll straighten it out. Okay, so let's set this to the side for now. Work on our hoop end of this here.
You gonna leave that at length?
Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll make that, we'll take about 4 inches of material, heat up, we'll set it down over the edge of the anvil at like 60 degrees, then we'll flip it over and start working our loop. I don't know how everyone else does it, I just figured that's the way I've done it, yeah. Right. So I mean, you could use a cone mandrel, you could use a bending jig, you could. And so you could do it all kinds of different ways. But I mean, you just kind of, depending on how much you're going to need, you just kind of bend it over, and then you can start working it around the edge of the horn here. But whatever size functional tool you put on the end of your stick, you want to make that hoop large enough to accommodate it if you want to slide it all the way through. So
Prongs don't fall out if you hang the pot on the other end.
right, and I mean, you know, if it looks like it's not going to end up being big enough, you can always straighten her back out and keep going. So make your anvil obviously work for you. Like that. Not a perfect circle, but it will do what it's intended to do, and then you'll heat it up again, and right here kind of where it connects, then you'll put it over the edge of the anvil here and drive it down, not all the way to a 45 or to a 90, maybe like 70 degrees, so that it will effectively hold your, that way it'll effectively hold your tool. So you can see that's not an entire true 90 degrees there.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to hold it.
Right, and it may take a minute, you know, to fiddle around and adjust it until this is basically flat, or maybe just to where it's kicked up like this, so when you put some weight on it, it doesn't collapse. All right there, looks pretty good. It's not a full 90, so maybe like 75 degrees or something like that. We'll heat up the middle part and we'll put a little twist in there to accommodate or to match our other little twist that we did on our fork end. And then on our fork end, I guess we could put a little hook or something on our fork end. We'll see. I'll check my fork and make sure it'll go through that hole first. One thing I haven't looked into yet is like how you're supposed to drive it into the ground, you know, if you get onto some really difficult ground. So I'm not sure. Maybe there's a variant of this that would let's see, so we'll go the opposite way this time. I don't think that's quite lined up. All right, and so we're pretty much finished with this piece. You can clean it up, blacken it. I'll throw it under the forge for now. Let me see here. All right, so my fork's not gonna fall all the way through. And if we're sitting here level, so it looks like we might want to adjust it a little bit, or I don't know.
Drive it to the ground at an angle.
You might like it. Yeah, you could. Just depends on how much of a perfectionist you are.
Not much one.
And then I guess, did we want to?
I'm good about stuff. Hey, get in my fork.
And then I guess we can do something with this end here while we're make us a little loop or something on the end. Won't take too long. Won't take too long. So we'll just draw it off down into a nice taper, put a finial on it, and make it like a little, like a little hook on the end, so you can hang something from it. And you can use whatever technique that you prefer for making your taper here. Whatever you find that works the fastest. You can use the flat die, you can use the round die. We'll round it up a little bit. Put us a little finial on the end.
Pretty sparkles.
I don't know. Don't take much, does it?
Not at that size.
All right. We'll kind of get it going like this.
I always look forward to dying in my sleep.
It's a good thing because the likelihood is high.
Exactly. Be just like my grandpa, dying asleep. I scream like a bell truck.
He was driving.
Happy, but they all got a little agitated.
You're talking about grandma dying in her sleep. We tried to tell her not to sleep on the railroad tracks.
Well, get it hot right there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is
That's nice. That's almost perfect for a pot handle.
it could turn just a tad. All right, men and women and boys and girls, that is still hot.
Only if you hold it for a minute.
Is one functional
USDA.
cooker. Rat cooker.
Rat cheer. Thank you.
Or, you know, you can turn it around and come in from this end and hang you a pot or a cup or something over there. So, and you can make this in any pretty much size, and you can get as fancy as you want with it. And I said 40, 50 bucks earlier. I have no idea. I've never sold anything. Except some bottle openers, and they were like 10 bucks a piece, you know.
Not getting enough.
So, questions, comments, or concerns?
You ran your on the fork. The hook is 90 degrees from the fork.
Yes, the orientation of this little hook is 90 degrees, and that would be perpendicular to the hook. And then the catchment or the hoop on the stake end is bent back, not at a full 90 degrees, but I can't tell you exactly how it is, you know, about somewhere between 75 and 80 degrees, so it'll have enough of a bite. Now, if you wanted to get, if you're more concerned about maybe doing a larger or hanging something heavier, you could probably twist all of this material, and those edges would cause it to bite into the material more. Like if you wanted to put like a 2-quart pot or something, it may not hold that. But, you know, if everything was twisted and then you built your kit here, then it might hold a little better. I don't know. I'm speculating there.
I've never really thought about, I see you change your twist, between the two pieces.
Yeah, well, one's clockwise, one's counterclockwise.
It's a nice more interest to it, and I never really gave it any thought.
Well, thank you. You want me to cool them off? Yeah, I'll cool them off so everybody can pass them around. We'll cool them off.
I was just gonna show you one purpose of having the orientation like it is.
That's what I see from all.
All right.
One reason to have it perpendicular, so this doesn't twist on you.
Right. Yeah, that's a good observation.
That's why he designed it that way.
That's right.
If it's like this,
It could-
square, it's still.
It could spin your whatever you're holding on the other end. Yeah. So,
That's why Jaime designed it that way. Exactly why.
and then